In a village where the river demanded virgin daughters of the land and the elders called it tradition, a girl named Nena was supposed to die, but she didn't. What could have happened? Let's find out. They say a village can survive without water, but can it survive without daughters? I returned to my village after 20 years to discover a truth my parents had hidden from me, a truth that had stolen every girl I grew up with, a truth written in blood and sealed in water. Nena's childhood in Ugoda was idyllic, or so it seemed. She played with friends, helped her mother cook, listened to her father's stories. But there was always something unspoken in her parents' eyes when they looked at her, a fear they tried to hide. At 16, while her friends began preparing for marriage, Nena's parents made an unexpected announcement. She would go to the city to study and work. It was an opportunity, they said, a chance for a better life. "But what about my friends?" Nena asked. "Why can't they come too?" Her mother turned away. Her father's jaw tightened. "This is just for you, my daughter. Trust us." The night before she left, Nena heard her mother sobbing in the darkness. When she asked what was wrong, her mother pulled her close and whispered, "Promise me you'll never come back until we send for you. Promise me." Nena promised, though she didn't understand why. 20 years passed. Nena built a successful career, saved money, sent it home faithfully. She dated occasionally, but never felt ready for intimacy. Something inside her wanted to wait, though she couldn't explain why. Her friends in the city found this old-fashioned, even strange. She wrote letters home asking about her childhood friends, Adeaze, Chioma, Ngozi, Ebele. Her parents' responses were always vague. "They're well. They're married. They have children now." But something felt wrong. The letters from home grew shorter, more urgent. "Don't come back yet. Stay there. You're doing so well." Then one day, the letters stopped coming altogether. Nena arrived in Ugoda on a Tuesday morning, unannounced. The village looked different, smaller, more worn, and, strangely, populated only by men, elderly women, and young mothers with multiple children. Her parents' reaction to seeing her was horror. "You shouldn't have come," her father said, his voice breaking. "You should have stayed away." 20 years, Nena said quietly. 20 years of lies. Where is Adeaze? Where is Chioma? Where are my friends? Her mother collapsed to her knees, wailing. That night, they told her everything. Generations ago, during a brutal war, Ugoda's warriors made a desperate pact with the river deity. In exchange for victory and protection, the village would offer 20 virgins from each kindred in that village every 20 years, girls aged 20, adorned in white gowns, chained and bound, surrendered to the sacred river that no one else could approach. The war was won, the covenant was sealed, and every 20 years since then, the village had honored it. Nena's friends hadn't married young by choice. They had married to escape the sacrifice, to lose their virginity before the deity could claim them. Those who couldn't or wouldn't marry in time simply disappeared, taken in white gowns to the river. Failing to do so, calamity would befall the whole village. "We told the village you died," her father whispered. "A sudden illness. We took you away that same night, gave you a new chance, a life." Nena sat in silence, processing the weight of her survival built on deception, while 20 girls from her generation had drowned for the village's peace. By dawn, the village knew Nena had returned. Whispers spread like wildfire. The daughter who was supposed to be dead was alive. The family who had deceived them, the covenant that might now be broken. The village elders arrived at midday, a crowd gathering behind them. "You stole from the deity," the high priest declared. "You robbed the covenant of what was owed." The crowd's anger was palpable. Some called for the entire family's banishment. Others demanded something worse. "Sacrifice them all," someone shouted. "The parents who lied and the daughter who should have been taken." Then came the cruel laughter. A 32-year-old woman who's lived in the city for 20 years? She's no longer a virgin. She's worthless to the deity anyway. Banish them. Nena stood slowly, silencing the crowd with her presence. I will submit to examination by the priestesses, she said clearly. If I am still a virgin, I will accept the covenant's claim on me. The village erupted in disbelief. The elders conferred. Such a thing was unprecedented, but if true, the priestesses performed their examination in private. When they emerged, their faces were ashen. She speaks truth, the eldest priestess announced. She is pure. The crowd fell silent, stunned. A woman who lived in the city for 20 decades, free from the village's watchful eyes, who had somehow maintained what so many girls had desperately tried to lose. But Nena wasn't finished. I will go to the river, she declared, her voice carrying across the village square. I go on my terms. I will perform the ritual myself. I will enter the water willingly, and I will make a new covenant with the deity that I will be the last. No more daughters of Ugoda will be chained and drowned. The elders protested immediately. The covenant cannot be changed. Then let the deity decide, Nena said. But if I give myself willingly, the most valuable sacrifice, the one who escaped and returned, the one who chose this fate, my conditions must be heard. The crowd murmured. The elders had no precedent for this. If I am to be sacrificed, Nena continued, this village will honor my name. You will name the school after me, the market, the hospital, the church. You will erect a statue in the village square with my name engraved beneath it, and every year you will remember not just my death, but what it meant, that no more daughters will be taken. The chief priest started to object, but Nena was already moving. She turned to her parents, her mother reaching for her with desperate hands. Don't do this, her mother begged. Run, please, run. Nena embraced them both, kissed their weathered faces. Have another child, she whispered. A daughter. Give her my name. Let her live the life I couldn't. Then she walked towards the forbidden river, the crowd parting before her like water. At the river's edge, Nena didn't wait for the elders to bind her. She removed her shoes, stepped into the sacred water, and spoke directly to the depths. The ancient words of covenant fell from her lips, words she shouldn't have known, but somehow did, as if the river itself was teaching her. She added her own words, her own terms, speaking not as a victim, but as an equal. I come willingly, she said, her voice steady, not in fear, but in choice. Accept me as the last, and release this village from its debt. No more daughters, no more chains. No more white gowns floating in your depths. She waded deeper, the water rising to her waist, her chest, her neck. The villagers watched, frozen. Even the elders seemed unable to move or speak. Nena took a final breath, looked back at her parents one last time, and submerged herself completely. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the river began to glow, a deep, ethereal light emanating from below. Thunder cracked the cloudless sky. Lightning struck the riverbank, leaving a scorched mark in the earth. Nena's body rose to the surface, peaceful, her eyes closed, floating in the water. The river had accepted. The village honored Nena's body with ceremony and performed the usual sacrifice. They allowed her parents to live. They spoke of her courage. They promised to honor her terms. But as the next 20-year cycle approached, the old fears returned. The covenant is ancient, the elders reasoned. Surely one woman couldn't have changed it entirely. The deity might be satisfied with fewer sacrifices, but we cannot risk 0. When the time came, they selected girls, as they always had. Fewer this time, only 5 instead of 20. A compromise, they told themselves. The girls were dressed in white, chained, and led to the river. But that night, something changed. In the home of the chief priest, a sound began, soft at first, then growing louder. A woman's voice, crying, calling out in anguish and betrayal. In the morning, footprints appeared throughout his house, bare feet that had tracked water across the floors, the beds, the walls. Human footprints, but too many for one person. The prints of 20 girls, perhaps more. The chief priest said nothing. Neither did the other elders who had participated in the sacrifice. They cleaned the water, scrubbed the floors, and pretended nothing happened. 3 days later, the first elder died in his sleep. No marks on his body, no illness, just gone. The next day, 3 more. By the end of the week, 10 had died. Panic seized Ugoda. The remaining elders, terrified, sought answers from a renowned soothsayer in a neighboring village. The soothsayer needed only moments in the village to understand. "The covenant has been rewritten," she said gravely, "but you broke faith with the one who rewrote it. Nena didn't just sacrifice herself, she became the covenant. She is the guardian now, and you violated her terms. The deity accepted her offer, and you rejected it." "What will stop this?" the elders begged. "Honor what she asked, everything she asked, not as an afterthought, but as a priority, and pray she forgives you." The elders moved quickly then, terror motivating what conscience had not. Within months, the school bore Nena's name, the market, the hospital, the church. A statue rose in the village square, Nena standing tall, unbound, looking toward the river with strength rather than fear. Beneath it, words were carved: "The last daughter, the first freedom." After the projects were completed, the deaths stopped. News spread through the village, all the elders were dead, and the king himself had perished. The village waited in fear for the next 20-year mark. When it came, no elders appeared to select girls, no white gowns were prepared, no chains forged. The river remained calm. Slowly, the village began to change. Girls grew up without the shadow of the covenant hanging over them. They studied, they dreamed, they chose their own paths. Marriages happened out of love rather than desperate escape. Every year on the anniversary of Nena's sacrifice, the village holds a festival, not of mourning, but of celebration and remembrance. Young women wear white, not as victims, but as symbols of the freedom Nena secured. They gather at the river, now a place of healing rather than horror, and speak her name with gratitude. A village that was once a place for man is now a place to live. Brothers now value their sisters, and kindred now marry daughters from another kindred, unlike before when brothers saw their blood sister as a tool for sacrifice. Years later, a young girl, perhaps 10 years old, stands at the statue in the square, reading the inscription. An older woman, Nena's mother, aged but alive, approaches and kneels beside the child. "Who was she?" the girl asks. "She was the bravest person I ever knew. She was my daughter, and she loved this village more than it deserved." A village can survive without water, but it cannot survive without hope, without change, without someone willing to break the cycle, even if it costs everything. My name is Nena, and I was the last daughter taken, so every daughter after me could be free.